Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
Biggest question that gets us stuck is when you keep asking yourself, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you is that you think there's something wrong with you, right? What's wrong with you is that you're not aware of your brilliance. So let's become aware of your brilliance, okay?
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice in business, you're in the right place. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, empowerment coach, visibility and marketing expert, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
So when we talk fears, and there's lots of talk about fears as entrepreneurs, obviously, because it is a demand as an entrepreneur for you to overcome your fears and do scary stuff. We're constantly putting ourselves out there, and it is a prerogative. It is it is very required for us to get out of our comfort zones, right? We're constantly growing. I like to say the boot camp of life, besides getting married and having children, it is owning your own business. You're constantly pushed over the edge and really forced to take a look at yourself and really see what you're made of, right? Can we agree on that? But then when we talk about fear, we usually think, oh, fear of failure. I don't want to fail. So that's why I don't want to put myself out there. What if it doesn't work? What if nobody buys, etc.? What if I end up investing money on something that doesn't pan out and I end up losing money? Or there's the flip side that I think is always also interesting for you to consider. And I think it's more obscure than the fear of failure, which is fear of success, right? And oh my gosh, we dabble with this all of the time. Like just the other day, I was meeting with a client and we were talking about the book opportunity that I am currently hosting. So if you want to become a published author, you have the opportunity of co-authoring a book with me. We are still looking for authors. I am so amazed that in less than 10 days, or in around 10 days, I had 13 ladies jumping in, and we have 25 spots. So if that's something that interests you, do reach out. Happy to share more information. We are getting started April 4th. So we want to, finalize the authors as soon as possible. But anyways, as I was talking to her, and she was like, well, because then if I publish this book, then that means I need to be speaking, and I'm going to be speaking all around town. And is that the lifestyle that I want? And I was like, whoa. We're not there yet. Right. So the fear of success is you exaggerate and you extrapolate the good stuff to a point where it becomes bad in your mind, right? I'm not going to be able to handle all of these clients, so I can't put myself up there. Well, are you there yet? Right? When you get to the cusp of that point, then you can start thinking about, hiring out, outsourcing, but we really extrapolate because it's a defense mechanism. So let's really break down what fear is. Fear is a defense mechanism that we all have to keep ourselves safe, right? This is something we develop from young children so that you don't burn yourself, so that you don't kill yourself, hurt yourself, right? And then when you think on an emotional level, we do this with relationships all the time. I'm not going to open myself up because I'm not going to, increase intimacy with somebody because there's the fear that I'm going to get disappointed. I'm going to get heartbroken. So this is a defense mechanism, except we know you won't get the benefits of a relationship unless you open yourself up, right? You're not really going to enjoy something unless you take that risk and you put yourself out there. So that's, the common stuff that we already know, but it's always great to have that refresher. So obviously when it comes to your visibility, yes, there's the fear of failure. Yes, there's the fear of success, but let's talk a little bit more about some different nuances of fear that can really help you in understanding why you are not making yourself more visible, even though you want to. So I shared a story yesterday. And there's also something that I do want to share on the podcast now that it's been a few days. I think I'm ready to share it. that I said, I get self-conscious and I get afraid of putting myself out there. And I didn't realize that. So this is why I'm having this conversation, is because you may think you don't have visibility fear. Some people already know, and I think this is very much related to personality types, and I'll get there. Some people already know that they don't want to be seen and they struggle with that. So yes, you have this situation. So let's figure out how we can overcome that fear. And then you have other people that say, I'm extroverted. That's me. I'm extroverted. I put myself out there. I talk, endlessly. I have no problem volunteering in crowds and saying, I will talk and I will share my opinion and I will talk about what I do. But still, I'm not making sales. So I don't understand what the disconnect is. And this is something that I learned from my business coach, Gary Barnes, that he said, once things started picking up for me and my business started growing more, he said, you know what happened? You allowed yourself to be seen. And at first it really didn't make sense because it's like, I was trying really hard to be seen this entire time. So I don't get what you're trying to say here. And throughout time, I have been able to understand a little bit more what that has meant for me. Because it's not just putting myself out there. There's a different nuance to that because of my personality type. And I'll get to that. But let me go back to my story here. When I go to events at times and people recognize me, that's very much a reality of mine because I am so visible when I go places. There's at least one person there that I meet up with that has heard of me. Oh, it's you. Oh, I know somebody that's worked with you or something. Or I've seen you on my feed. Something happens. And there's at times a little bit of a concern of I want to be seen, but I don't want to impose. Like, are other people thinking that it's just going overboard? For example, with the fact that I chose to put myself on the cover of my book. I, at times when I pull up the banner, especially my huge banner, which is like life-size me or bigger. And also at times when, it's a mixed event and there's men in there, at times I'm like, is this too much? Right? For me to be in this picture with this dress, like at times I feel a little bit like, what will people think that I am so full of myself? Right? So that is a concern that still crosses my mind. And that's another point that I wanted to make with this conversation is that whatever visibility fear you have that's prominent, it's not something that will go away because it's there to protect you. The difference is, as you become aware, you're able to talk back to that fear and say, I'm safe. It's okay. I'll be okay. And that's the conversation that I have with myself. So I'm saying this because just last week, I had a speaking event and I brought my banner, and it was an event where there were both women and men. And I kind of had that thought. I was like, man, I'm the only one with the life-size me banner. Everybody else doesn't have this kind of stuff. Well, and then I, start coaching myself. Well, but I coach women. This is part of my brand that I show up this way. And then I coached myself into thinking the women that think I'm full of myself, those are not the people that I can support. I mean, I can support them, but those are not the people that will engage with me. The women that look at my banner and think, wow, she's confident. I want to connect with her and I want to learn from her. Hi, Adele. That's the women that I can help. So why do we focus on the people that potentially will look at us and be like, whoa, she's full of herself? That's not the people for me, right? So let me focus on the people that look at me and think, I want to learn from this person. She has something that I admire and I want to learn from her. That's the people that I'm going to focus on. Isn't that so obvious? But we don't do that, right? So I wanted to share this vulnerability piece because just exactly that day, I had this event. So that was last Tuesday. I had this event. I had this thought, and I had I had another speaking opportunity that was virtual. I recorded a podcast episode as well in my group. And then I did a call for my program, Show Up Empowered, which has everything to do with visibility and putting yourself out there with marketing content. And I was on fire. I was really feeling like oh my gosh, I am owning that I have this gift, the gift of being visible. Even though I have my struggles and my insecurities, there are things that women can learn from me, that are things that are second nature for me that women still struggle with, and I can support them with that. There are things that to me are no big deal at this point, that are just part of my routine, and that women could only dream of having. And I have come to terms with even accepting these thoughts, and to the point of even vocalizing this to you right now. It's been a process for me to admit to myself in my head that what I have, many women dream of having, that the way I run my business and the way I do things is something that many women would dream of having. Thinking this thought at times may feel wrong. How dare you think that you're so amazing? But that's the very belief that you need to have, my friend, as an entrepreneur, to attract people that will want to work with you and that will pay to hear what you have to say. Is this making sense? Right? So how dare I? Well, but if I don't think that, then I'm not going to have a business. If I don't think I'm hot stuff, in the sense of there's people wanting to learn from me and wanting my products and services, then who the hell is going to, believe in me? I have to have belief in me. I have to have belief in my offers before somebody else will believe in my offers. Is this making sense? So I was sharing all this, pretty much that was the theme of that day. I was telling my clients, I was like, man, you need to develop this belief in yourself, right? You need to be able to come to a point where that you think, and shame and guilt do not take over, that you think the way I do things is another woman's dream or another person's dream, depending on who you serve, right? And then get to the point where you can say this out loud and not feel wrong and not feel scared that somebody else out there is going to say, wow, you're just so full of yourself, right? Is this making sense? Let me know. And so then that very day, I create content all the time. I put up reels, I do stories, I do posts, all the things. That very day, somebody commented on one of my reels and said, I'm beginning to think that you're full of yourself, Marta, and that you're creating a cult-like following. I've been to one of your workshops in the past, and I think you are preying on women's insecurities. And you should really try a different approach. Not everybody wants to feel the validation of being visible on social media to continue on with their business. And what was so interesting is that I do struggle with criticism, and I'll talk about the visibility fears in a minute. I'm leading up to that. Stay with me. Obviously, nobody likes being criticized, and especially, in a public setting, right? But when you put yourself out there, especially on social media, you are exposed to the potential of having people disagree with you and comments, that kind of stuff. So on the same hand that I was like, oh my gosh, like it caught me off guard to have that response. Because of what I had been talking about that day, I understood. I was like, I am doing an amazing job. Like that was confirmation to me. They say you've made it once you have haters, etc. But what does that mean? It means if you are repelling people, and even if you are triggering people, then you are being clear with your content, right? I am not creating content right now to people that do not want to be visible. That is not who I'm talking to, right? Because if they're coming to me and they don't want to be visible, then my message is not clear. That's not to say that I can't support and help, but you see where at times it gets confusing with the whole, like, you need to niche down and you need to make sure your person feels seen in your content. So, well, the fact that this person thinks I have built a cult-like following proves to me that there are many women that resonate with my message, right? So I'm doing something right. Yes, I am increasing my clients. I'm increasing my income. This is great. And then I am also increasing people that don't agree with what I do. This is also great. But that is part of why we don't get more visible, because this is going to happen. It's a given, and you're going to have to be okay with it. So let's talk about the different types of visibility fears. And these fears go hand in hand with personality types, because like what I just said, some people struggle with being visible, and I never did. So I assumed I didn't really have visibility fears, but I just shared with you that I still do, but it looks different depending on if you're introverted, extroverted, or if you want to use the Enneagram and my own personality framework. We can talk about feelers, thinkers, and doers. So have you taken my quiz? Did you know I have my own personality quiz that I developed as a spinoff of the Enneagram, because I love the Enneagram? So I created my own quiz. It's called What's Your Six-Figure Personality? Basically, it's what is your personality? But if you understand your personality and you understand how to leverage that personality and work with yourself instead of against yourself, and work with your strengths so that they don't become your weaknesses, you can hit six figures in whatever goal you have for your business and for your life in such a more pleasurable way. And dare I say faster, because you're not going to be constantly asking yourself, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I think this is like the biggest question that gets us stuck, is when you keep asking yourself, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you is that you think there's something wrong with you. Right? What's wrong with you is that you're not aware of your brilliance. So let's become aware of your brilliance. Okay. And that's really what I do with my work. So if you haven't taken my quiz called Six-Figure Personality Quiz, I encourage you to go take it. You just go to martaspurk.com and there are tabs somewhere for you to take the quiz. Or if you want to go martaspurk.com/quiz, it'll take you directly there and it'll help you see if you're a feeler, thinker, or a doer. And what's so interesting is that when I boil down the three biggest types of fears and visibility fears, it goes by the personality. That's not to say that we don't struggle with all of the fears, but I really believe that there is a more prominent fear that we have. And once you become aware of that, it is easier for you to counter it and be like, no, I understand what you're doing here, my brain, my sweet, 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 sweet brain. You're trying to keep me safe. Thank you so much, but I'm okay. And I will keep going because there's people out there that need my help. And I trust my gifts and I trust that the world will benefit from it. Hi, Sophia. So the very first one, which is correspondent to the feelers, is really the fear of making a mistake, right? The fear of being imperfect, which goes hand in hand with the fear of failure. So this has to do with feelers because feelers are, in the perfectionist spectrum, which we all struggle with perfectionism to some degree. But many people struggle with being visible because I need to get all these steps before I become visible, right? Before I speak on stage, I need to lose 1 billion pounds. I need to have the funnel. I need to have the website. I need to do all these things. And so then you don't do it. Right? So you're creating extra steps for yourself. And that's really a cop-out, right? So are you that type of person? I would love to see a show of hands. Are you that type of person that creates extra steps for you to procrastinate certain things? So that is it. You're creating extra steps for yourself. Oh, Marta says, I just need to be more consistent with social media, but I need to create a content calendar. I need to, upgrade my Canva account first. I can't just start. If you tend to do this, that's your fear, friend. You're afraid of making a mistake, essentially, because God forbid I actually write something spontaneously and put it out there. That's how I live my life. Spontaneity. Let's go and let's do. So I am on the other side of it where I need more structure to help me, but we're not there yet. Okay. So if this is you, then pay close attention to this. You're adding extra steps because you're actually letting your fear keep you safe, letting your fear keep you stuck. Okay. The next type of visibility fear is really a fear of rejection, right? So it's not so much of making the mistake. I mean, they're all related, but it's more so a fear of rejection, of criticism, of maybe being misunderstood, right? So when you feel the need of over-explaining, right? I said this, but that's not really what I meant. Like you're already playing out the objections in your head before they even happen. It's a defense mechanism, right? When people get defensive. Somebody says something and you're already thinking that they were attacking you. So you already create another response and it's like, I never even said that, right? And this is corresponding to the thinker personality type. Obviously, because they're constantly overanalyzing everything and they get stuck in analysis paralysis. So are you the type of person that before you put up a post, before you create anything, oh my gosh, I already know so-and-so is going to say this, so I can't do it. Let me edit it. Like you edit it a billion times, or you read an email a million times before you sending it over. So again, there's that element of spontaneity that you're lacking. And that is a fear keeping you stuck for a fear of rejection. Friend, you can't manage people's thoughts of you. And that's tough, right? That's what it comes with the territory. People will have thoughts. Oh, and you can't do anything about it. And you won't know what they are. So what are we doing? Right? You got to keep on going and you got to live your life. So let me know if you resonate with this one. And it's sort of similar, but it's not the same. A fear of rejection, a fear of being misunderstood, a fear of being criticized. And the first one that we talked about was more of a perfectionism mistake or failing. And then the final one, which is the one that's corresponded to the doer personality type, and that's the one I resonate with deeply, is a fear of not being relevant, a fear of being forgotten, a fear of really not being loved. That is something that I completely struggle with. And that is why doers are constantly doing, because if they rest, it's almost like they feel like they're not enough, right? I lost my worth and my value in the world if I'm not producing and if I'm not doing things. So I resonate with this one 100%. Obviously, I have insecurities on the other personality types, in the other aspects as well. But I think this is the one that strikes me the most is, what if nobody cares tomorrow? Like, I just accomplished all of this. Everyone's all over it. Everyone loves it. But what about tomorrow? There's an anxiety piece to this. And it's like, I'm already foreseeing that they're not going to like me tomorrow. You see how it's tricky? It's sneaky. So whereas with the thinkers, it's more like, what are they going to say? The feelers are like, they like me now, but they may not like me tomorrow. So it's nuts. Like, there's so much that goes in our heads. And honestly, friends, this is all stuff to keep us from moving forward. That's what fear does, right? Again, defense mechanism. It's something to keep you where you are so that potentially it avoids harm. But guess what? If you stay where you are, you're also not going to reap the benefits or growth and progress. So I hope this was helpful in helping you realize what is keeping you from being more visible. And on that note, I do want to say that I am doing this amazing new coaching experience that I created. It's a 7-day one-on-one coaching experience. And the reason why it's one-on-one is because I'm using the Telegram app, which is a messenger, using the channel feature. So it's going to be like, I am voice messaging you all day long for 7 days. So all of us, I think most of us have, friends or business besties that we message using voice message or even text message throughout the day and be like, oh my gosh, I'm launching something. I'm so excited. Or, oh, this client just said this and I'm so upset. So I decided to create that experience for several reasons. For one, because I want to mimic what the conversations are like when I have with a client. So it's like a continuous process. It's not just us sitting and meeting on Zoom and me giving you a lecture. And then the flip side is you don't need to sit and listen to me on Zoom for a lecture, because that's the trouble with doing like an event or a live challenge is people feel the pressure that if I can't make it live, I don't want to do it. Right? Well, when you're talking to your friends, you can't necessarily get to the messages as soon as they send it to you, right? You get to the messages when you have a break. So that's what I want. I want you to go and check your phone when you have a break and see if there's a new message from me, where I'm going to be sharing encouragement, sharing some specifics on how I create content, on how I'm preparing for a speaking event. So I have a few things lined up that week, which is going to work out great. I have a photo shoot. I have a live podcast recording in a studio with somebody else for their show. What else do I have that week? I have a speaking event in one of the evenings. So I'll be filling you in on my routine, because that's something that people ask me all of the time. Like the $1 million question is, Marta, how do you do anything with triplets? So I'm going to tell you what my routine is like. And I timed it perfectly because Originally, I wanted to do it this week, but the kids are in spring break. So my routine is kind of off. So next week, they're going to be back in school. So what do I do? What time do I wake up? I will let you in. And that's not to shame you into saying you need to do things the way that I do, but it's out of curiosity. How do I stay visible? Because I am very busy. I have to take the kids to school. I come back, they have extracurricular activities, but I fit my stuff in the pockets of time. I still connect with people. I still create content. I still follow up with people. I do lots of different things. And like I said, at this point, it's become second nature for me, but I understand that there's a lot of wisdom and gold nuggets there that you could benefit from. So it could be that one voice clip that I sent that one day, right? That is going to unlock something for you. And this is really what I want. Not for you to sit on a Zoom and listen to 1 hour of me talking, but hey, I am, going to pick the kids up from school. Let me listen to this 3-minute message that Marta just sent. And hopefully that'll support you in some capacity or give you some strategies, right? Oh, maybe I'll start doing this next week for my content, or maybe I will pitch to some podcasts to go get interviewed. I don't know. I'm going to share a lot of stuff. So it starts Monday the 27th. It's only $11. That's what's amazing, is that it's super, super cheap. So for any of you that have, consumed any of my free content, my lower ticket content, you've been seeing my work for a while and you're curious how it would be to work with me. This is it. This is your perfect opportunity. You have a little bit of skin in the game, just so you do, stay committed to downloading the app and showing up. There is an opportunity for you to upgrade to get more intensive support with me. So for $100 more, you get 3 calls with me. So I will do 3 group calls during that week so that it's real-time interaction, answering your questions, having a hot seat with me, whatever. So I already have 2 ladies doing that. So I'm so excited. So it's going to be a lot more intimate. Okay. So if you're interested in having one-on-one support with me even further, like real time where you're asking and I'm answering, I'm not just giving you content, then I encourage you to upgrade and join me. So for $111, we can work together for a whole week and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I already have plans of what I'm going to be sharing every day of the week, obviously. So I'll be talking about, strategy, mindset, just like what I did. So today was a little piece of the mindset. I'll be sharing about relationships, the importance of networking and how to actually leverage that to grow your business. It's going to be super fun. Oh, something else about the upgrade is that I am giving away lots of resources. So it's not just the calls with me. I'm giving you templates for you to do your keynotes, templates for you to do your sales webinars. I created a template for you to write a bomb magazine article if you want to be featured on a magazine. How do I write my articles? I'm going to give you all of my tips. What else? I have a media kit template, and also social media strategy. So how do I create content and repurpose content so that I am everywhere? That's how I do it. So I'm going to be sharing all of that. And I'm so excited because it's something different. Lots of ladies are jumping in. So I hope you will be one of them.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.